Kristine Berzina, Gazprom has now put a price on what it believes the Turkish stream might cost the pipeline running through the Black Sea into Turkey. What are those prices and what implications do they have for the project?
Gazprom has announced two different valuations for Turkish stream based on the scale of the project. This is in response to the Turkish government's request to have two packages proposed. The first package is for one pipeline that would go from Russia directly to Turkey and would largely supply the Turkish market. This is just over 4 billion. And there is a second package for 4 pipelines that would be largely then used to transit through Turkey to European markets. And that package is for 11.4 billion. And this is relevant because it shows the different scales and potential influence that this project can have. On the one hand, it could be a relatively small deal that is signed between Turkey and Russia. And on the other hand, it could be a very significant project that can supply Europe with natural gas in the future. But now it is up to the Turkish government to decide which package is more attractive and whether it sees itself as a transit provider for Russia or whether it sees itself as a consumer and partner for Russia in a more traditional sense.
What factors would Turkey take into account when thinking about that?
Turkey has a lot of energy options for itself and also options for supplying European markets. One of them is well known. It is the Southern Gas Corridor, which would provide Central Asian and potentially Middle Eastern gas to Europe. This is already underway. The initial batch of gas would come from Azerbaijan. So it already has this role of energy transit country and provider to Europe. The EU in general is seeking diverse energy sources and doesn't have the most positive view on Turkish stream in its most expansive variety because there is a fear that it would undermine some of the transit capabilities currently going across Eastern Europe and Ukraine in particular.
What about the security implications of the Turkish stream pipeline, especially in the wake of the Ukraine crisis?
The Turkish stream pipeline is an economic project for Gazprom, but it is a political project as well. Russia has decided and claims that after 2019 it will no longer transit gas through Ukraine to supply European markets. And this is one of the major entry points for Russian gas into Europe. There is no technical reason why this should be the case. Ukraine, the infrastructure functions well, it is paid off, it is a cheap way for European markets to have access to Russian gas. Politically, this creates complications for Russia because it then is more involved in Ukraine and in Ukrainian transit. And there's a political decision being made that in the future it would be better to go through other countries. Europe has a financial reason not to want this to happen because a new pipeline would have to be paid off and the existing ones work just fine. And for this reason, there is an economic as well as a political incentive to support Ukraine and to maintain the present transit routes.
How sure can all sides be that the planned project for the Turkish stream will actually go ahead?
The future of this project is unpredictable. We don't know whether it will definitely move forward, and we don't know what scale it will have if it moves forward. Russia and Turkey need to sign intergovernmental agreements first of all, to put this in motion and then to determine its scale. And I think once we have those agreements, we will see what the intention is. But again, we should be patient and we should look at the costs and the progress of these projects to see where they go. Gas prices are down because oil prices are down, which means that any new construction is going to be as costly as it was, but with lesser returns as long as these prices remain low.